cookie cut um, meshing, so that they will figure out how this slab, metal deck slab and beam encoders related. So this is something defined mesh internally conducted before it taps distributed load. So this is kind of cool features. Maybe I can show you that where it is. If this is something more default feature. So when I click it, maybe I can turn off that and go to shell. There is a floor auto mesh options. So this is internal auto mesh, floor auto mesh option. When you click it, you could read it. Can you read it? For horizontal decks and membrane slabs, the default is to auto cookie cut at beam and walls. So now, for other cases, for horizontal shell and layered shell slabs, the default is to use auto rectangular meshing. So this is kind of cool stuff. This we are using a metal deck slab, right? Membrane slab. Default ETAPS using auto cookie cut at beams and walls, which means we have all the beams and gutter and walls. So they do auto cookie cut. How do you know it? So here, show shell analysis mesh. So before you run it, maybe just hold on. Okay. Okay. So before you run it, you could see that all the meshes will be mesh cut by the by the beaming walls like this. So this is a nice ETAPS feature, since we don't since we are using coarse mesh like a big plate, right? And you since you have a beam and gutter, so this ETAPS will know that how to mesh that the slab. If there is no feature like this exists, then you have to draw that shell every single bay, every single one by hand, which is crazy, right? So this is just the meshing of the feature the ETAPS provide. So you could see how your mesh is properly or how you or slab is properly drawn. You could check it by turn on the shell analysis mesh here. So you could just take a look at it and see your meshes, or your slab is correctly done. So you could just turn on and off here. So I'm moving to analysis part. Now the question is, I assume you understand the design criteria, right? Also grouping, adversarial grouping. Okay, here. Interesting is somehow ETAPS chose W18 by 40 or W18 by 35 here and there for internal filler beams. But also they choose W21 by 44, W21 by 44. That's interesting. Why? But the spandrel beam, it chose 24 by 55, 24 by 55, 24 by 55. All right, let's take a look at how you guys did it. But before you do that, always you have to ask yourself whether your model is correctly built. So I'm gonna turn on 1.2 data load plus 1.6 live load combination. I turn on the moment diagram. So let's see. So when you look at it, bending moment diagram is slightly different. Typically 493.7, if beams are tamped on center. Let me just zoom in here. See that 493.7 or 493.7, but only this, and that one is 461.2. Right? So the moment is slightly lower. I mean, maybe because maybe beam weight, but I think this something maybe happens because of gravity beams. There are two different auto selection was used. So one is gravity beams, the other one is composite beam. Maybe that's caused this issue, but let's take a look at it. Why? How can I? I'm gonna select all this. I select all.
So those, the 18 and by
Okay, so
35s
those are all, yeah.
are the gravity beams, and then the girder, the W24 by 55s, in the interior are also gravity beams. So the spandrel girders that are 24 by 55 are composite, but then the inner girders are all gravity beams. So I was just confused why that happened.
Oh, no, I think, okay. So let me just assign first, because I think you're confusing. Let me just assign this one to just one auto selections, composite beam. So, and then I'm gonna run. The load is slightly different, maybe because of self weight. Okay, so now you have a spandrel beams. Those are spandrel beams. And girder. Oh, it's also girder is we're using gravity beam auto selection. Okay, just a little bit. Composite beam outside. Composite beam. Okay, gravity beam. So this is just our saying. Don't get. You should not confuse between the composite beam and gravity beam. This is the same auto selection section property. When you open the A composite beams, this is a series of beams we assign. Monitors and located on the top. I cannot pick that and move. Ridiculous. And I click that move. So you see that this is auto selection, right? This auto selection property has a series of beams that the engineer wants to consider for their beam and also girder. So somehow you assign the two different auto selection properties, but okay, so all the composite beams here, and and also you have a gravity beams are used. Well, maybe then make it simple. I'll just assign everything. Composite beam. Let's see composite beam. So every beam and girder, I assign composite beam for the selections. And I'm gonna run. Before you run it, I think okay, you assign spandrel beams a group so that those group will choose their own one size for each group. Composite beam east-west perpendicular. You don't have to maybe do it at the first run. So let's design run. Okay. The first one is still interesting. Why this? Maybe this spacing is not exactly 10 feet, or should we try to investigate this here? Moment diagram is very different. That's 460 versus 491. This one's supposed to go to 491. Is it 10 feet? Yeah, I just include the dimension. Just for that. It's 10 feet. What caused that the load bending moment diagrams? And with this, let's put in this way. How long?